There are some stories where the danger is not a monster, not a weapon, not a war, but knowledge. Knowledge opened before its time. Knowledge given without wisdom. Knowledge placed into human hands before the human heart was ready to carry it. In the Book of Enoch, one of the darkest parts of the ancient story is not simply that the Watchers came down to earth. It is what they brought with them. They did not come empty-handed. They came with secrets, hidden arts, heavenly knowledge, things humanity was never meant to receive in that way. And once that knowledge entered the world began to change. Weapons became sharper. Power became easier to abuse. Beauty became tangled with corruption. The signs of the heavens were studied without humility. The hidden things of creation were pulled into human ambition. And according to Enoch, the earth itself began to cry out. This is the mystery of forbidden knowledge in the Book of Enoch. It is not a simple warning against learning. It is not saying that wisdom is evil. It is not saying that knowledge itself is darkness. The warning is deeper than that. Knowledge becomes dangerous when it is separated from righteousness. Power becomes corrupt when it is separated from wisdom. And secrets become destructive when they are given to hearts that have not learned obedience. To understand this mystery, we have to return to the world before the flood. A world that Genesis describes in only a few heavy words. The earth was corrupt. The earth was filled with violence. The imagination of the human heart had turned toward evil. Genesis gives us the shadow. The Book of Enoch expands the shadow into a terrifying vision. In Enoch's version of the story, the Watchers are heavenly beings assigned to observe, to watch, to remain in their appointed place. But they do not remain there. They look upon the daughters of men. They desire. They descend. And in crossing that boundary, they bring heaven's secrets down into the human world. This is where the story becomes more than rebellion. It becomes contamination. A line between heaven and earth is crossed, and what belonged in one realm is introduced into another realm in the wrong way. The Watchers do not merely fall. They teach. They reveal. They give humanity knowledge that accelerates the corruption of the world. Among the names remembered in the Enochic tradition, one stands out with particular darkness. Azazel. Azazel is associated with teaching humanity the making of weapons, the working of metals, and the arts that turn beauty and power into tools of corruption. In the story, this is not presented as progress in the modern sense. It is presented as a dangerous gift, a gift that makes violence more efficient, a gift that helps pride decorate itself, a gift that teaches human beings how to magnify what is already broken inside them. That is an important point. The forbidden knowledge does not create evil from nothing. It empowers what is already in the heart. If the heart is humble, knowledge can serve life. But if the heart is proud, knowledge becomes a weapon. If the heart is violent, knowledge multiplies violence. If the heart desires domination, knowledge becomes a ladder toward control. That is why the Watcher's teaching is so dangerous. It does not merely inform humanity. It changes what humanity is capable of doing. The Book of Enoch describes a world where knowledge spreads faster than wisdom. Power grows faster than righteousness. Humanity receives tools, but not holiness. Secrets, but not obedience. Skill, but not restraint. And that combination becomes deadly. This is one of the most haunting ideas in the entire Enochic story. The problem is not that human beings learn too much. The problem is that they learn too much without becoming good. That warning still feels ancient and modern at the same time. Every age believes its knowledge will save it. Every age believes its tools will make it wiser. Every age believes its discoveries will lead to a better world. But Enoch asks a darker question. What if knowledge does not make us righteous? What if power only reveals what the heart already loves? What if the more we know, the more dangerous we become when wisdom does not grow with us? That is the world before the flood in the Book of Enoch. A world where heavenly knowledge enters human hands, but the human heart is not prepared. The result is not peace. It is violence. The strong become stronger. The dangerous become more dangerous. The corrupt become more effective. The world becomes heavier with bloodshed, and heaven hears the cry of the earth. The Watcher's forbidden knowledge is not limited to weapons. The tradition also speaks of hidden arts, signs, enchantments, and the knowledge of the heavens. But again, the deeper issue is not a list of forbidden subjects. The deeper issue is the spirit in which knowledge is received. The heavens were created to declare glory. But in the wrong hands, the study of heavenly signs can become a hunger for control. The beauty of creation was meant to reflect the Creator. But in the wrong hands, beauty can become seduction, vanity, and power. The materials of the earth can serve human life. But in the wrong hands, metal becomes a blade. Creation itself is good. But when the human heart is corrupted, even good things can be bent toward darkness. That is one of the most important lessons of Enoch. Evil does not always invent new things. Sometimes it twists good things. It takes what could have served life and turns it toward domination. It takes skill and makes it pride. It takes beauty and makes it corruption. It takes knowledge and makes it rebellion. The forbidden knowledge of the Watchers is dangerous because it is knowledge without worship, knowledge without humility, knowledge without fear of God, knowledge without love for the innocent. This is why the story is not anti-wisdom. The Bible itself honors wisdom. It praises understanding. It celebrates the fear of the Lord as the beginning of wisdom. But Enoch's warning is about knowledge that bypasses wisdom. Knowledge stolen from its proper place. Knowledge transmitted through rebellion. Knowledge that gives humanity power without teaching the heart to kneel. That is the difference. Wisdom begins with humility. Forbidden knowledge begins with pride. Wisdom asks how knowledge can serve what is good. Forbidden knowledge asks how knowledge can make me powerful. Wisdom remembers the Creator. Forbidden knowledge tries to possess creation without reverence. That is why the Watchers are judged. They are not judged simply because they knew hidden things. They are judged because they betrayed their place. They crossed a boundary. They corrupted humanity. They turned what was above into a force of disorder below. And once the knowledge was released, it could not simply be recalled. That is another frightening part of the story. Some doors once opened change history. Some knowledge, once unleashed without wisdom, spreads beyond the control of those who revealed it. The Watchers may have thought they were giving gifts, or power, or secrets. But the result was a world moving toward judgment. In the Enochic imagination, the cry of the earth rises to heaven. The violence is seen. The corruption is known. The hidden things are not hidden from God. And judgment begins to move toward both the Watchers and the world they corrupted. This connects directly to the flood. In Genesis, the flood comes upon a world filled with violence. In Enoch, that violence is intensified by the rebellion of the Watchers and the forbidden knowledge they brought. The two visions speak differently, but they circle the same moral reality. A world can become so corrupted that judgment is no longer avoidable. And in Enoch, forbidden knowledge is one of the forces that helps push the world toward that point. This is why the story has fascinated readers for centuries. It gives a cosmic dimension to human corruption. It suggests that the world before the flood was not merely sinful in an ordinary way. It was disordered. Boundaries had been broken. Heaven and earth had been confused. Power had been unleashed without righteousness. And the result was not enlightenment. It was destruction. That word matters. Enlightenment. Human beings often imagine forbidden knowledge as something glamorous, something hidden that will make them superior, something secret that will make them powerful, something the ordinary world does not understand. But Enoch strips away the glamour. The hidden knowledge does not lead to true light. It leads to a darker world. Because knowledge that feeds pride does not illuminate. It blinds. It makes people think they are ascending when they are actually falling. It makes them believe they are becoming like gods when they are becoming less human. It makes violence seem like strength. It makes corruption seem like sophistication. It makes rebellion seem like freedom. That is the seduction of forbidden knowledge. It does not always look evil at first. It may look useful, beautiful, powerful, advanced. But the question is not only what the knowledge can do, the question is what it does to the soul. Does it make people more humble, more just, more merciful, more reverent? Or does it make them proud, violent, and obsessed with control? The Book of Enoch is not afraid to answer. In the wrong hands, knowledge can become part of the world's corruption. And this is why the story still speaks. We live in a world filled with knowledge. More information than any ancient generation could have imagined. More tools, more systems, more power to shape life, destroy life, imitate life, manipulate life, and spread ideas across the earth in a moment. And yet the ancient warning remains. Has wisdom grown with knowledge? Has righteousness grown with power? Has humility grown with ability? Or have we become like the world Enoch describes, skilled, informed, powerful, and still morally unprepared? That is the uncomfortable mirror of the story. The Watchers taught hidden things, but human beings were responsible for what they became. A corrupt heart can turn almost anything into an instrument of corruption. A humble heart can receive knowledge as stewardship. A proud heart receives knowledge as a throne. This is why the deepest issue in the Book of Enoch is not curiosity. It is character. The story does not ask whether humans should learn. It asks whether humans can carry knowledge without being mastered by pride. It asks whether power can exist without domination. It asks whether secrets can be held without corruption. It asks whether a world that grows in ability but not in righteousness is actually growing closer to judgment. The answer of Enoch is severe. Knowledge without wisdom can destroy a world. The forbidden knowledge of the Watchers becomes a symbol of every gift that is detached from goodness, every skill that serves violence, every discovery that feeds arrogance, every secret that makes the human heart less humble. That is why Azazel becomes such a dark figure in the story. He represents the teacher of corruption, the one who shows humanity how to turn the materials of earth into instruments of violence and vanity. But Azazel is also a warning about influence. Those who teach are responsible. Those who reveal are responsible. Those who open doors for others are responsible for what comes through those doors. In Enoch, the Watchers do not get to say, "We only gave knowledge." Heaven holds them accountable for what their teaching did to the earth. That is a powerful thought. Knowledge is not morally neutral when it is given in rebellion. Teaching is not innocent when it trains corruption. Power is not harmless when it strengthens the violent. The Book of Enoch looks at the broken world before the flood and says, someone taught humanity how to become worse. Someone revealed what should have remained hidden. Someone crossed the boundary, and the earth suffered for it. Still, the story is not only about ancient Watchers, it is also about us, because every generation must decide what to do with knowledge. Will we use it to heal, or to dominate, to serve, or to exalt ourselves, to protect life, or to make violence more efficient, to seek wisdom, or to imitate the pride of beings who left their proper place? The forbidden knowledge in the Book of Enoch is terrifying because it is not far away. It is a pattern that repeats whenever power outruns wisdom, whenever skill outruns virtue, whenever discovery outruns humility, whenever human beings reach for what they are not ready to carry. That is the warning. Not that knowledge is evil, but that knowledge without righteousness can become one of the oldest forms of destruction. Before the flood, according to Enoch, the Watchers came down. They crossed the line. They taught the hidden arts. They gave humanity power without wisdom, and the world became filled with violence. The waters eventually came. The old world passed away. The Watchers were judged, but the warning did not disappear. It remains wherever human beings ask for power without asking for wisdom. It remains wherever people desire secrets more than righteousness. It remains wherever knowledge is treated as salvation, while the heart remains unchanged. The Book of Enoch reminds us that not every light is holy. Not every secret is wisdom. Not every advancement is righteousness. And not every gift from above is received in the right way. The deepest question is not simply, what did the Watchers teach? The deeper question is, What happens when knowledge descends without holiness? What happens when human beings learn how to do more, but do not become better? What happens when power grows, but the soul shrinks? That is the mystery of forbidden knowledge. And perhaps that is why the story still feels so alive. Because the ancient world before the flood may be gone, but the temptation remains. To know without wisdom, to build without humility, to possess without reverence, to reach beyond the boundary and call it progress. The Book of Enoch gives that temptation a story. The Watchers, Azazel, the hidden arts, the corruption of the earth, the cry that rises to heaven, and the judgment that follows. It is a dark story, but it is also a necessary warning, because knowledge can bless a world when it is ruled by wisdom. But when knowledge serves pride, it can help bury a world beneath the consequences. In the next episode, we will turn from forbidden knowledge to one of the most mysterious sacred objects in the Bible. A golden chest hidden behind the veil, a sign of covenant, a sign of divine presence, a sign of holiness so dangerous that even touching it could mean death. The Ark of the Covenant. Where is it now? And why has the world never stopped searching for it?